Recapping multiple games at once again because we flew home from Portland to Utah. We started a new semester and that's rough because I'm taking 16 credits because yay. And then on Wednesday, Logan and I got food poisoning. And so going to recap the last 4 games with you guys now, which were against the Ducks, which was a long time ago, the Jets, the Predators, and the New York Rangers. Let's go! Yeah! Bro!
Freaking power play! Why are we not shooting? Yes!
I can't even grammar properly right now. How frustrated I am. First off, starting with the Ducks, Vegas Golden Knights win 3-1 against the Anaheim Ducks in game 34. Honestly, this game in general was just a really clean game. From Vegas perspective, it was a really solid game. Building upon what happened with LA, where we had a solid offensive performance, we also had solid defense this time. The goal scorers in this one were Nick Waugh, Adam Brooks, and Mattias Janmark. Look at him go, goals in back-to-back games. Might be hearing that a little bit more. And once the Anaheim Ducks decided that they could not compete with us, which was about halfway through the second period, they just started gooning. And that's fun. Literally look at all of these penalties in the second period, and then the third. The Golden Knights had 6 power plays in this game and did not score on a single one of them. However, it was a solid game overall other than our power play, and we almost got our first shutout of the season, but the refs decided they didn't want that to happen because looking at the score sheet, seeing, Vegas has had 6 power plays. And the Ducks have had none, which I mean is for good reason. It wasn't because they're just calling it one way. It was actually how the game was represented. With 1 minute and 20 seconds left, they call a penalty on Brayden McNabb for interference or something, and it leads to a fight. But I don't understand how he got a penalty from this exactly because it really wasn't that bad. For the National Hockey League standards this year, which I don't understand, I don't think anybody does, that was a really bad call. And it led to the Ducks getting a power play goal with 11 seconds left, ruining Brossoit's shutout and making it 3-1. But hey, we came out on top. We had a really solid game. It's all that matters, right? It's moving on to game 2. Well, game 35, but of this video. The Vegas Golden Knights in game 35 lose in overtime 5-4 against the Winnipeg Jets. The main storyline for this one, it was Stastny and Schmidt's return to Vegas, the first time since they had been traded. So that is always fun, and of course Paul Stastny with a really sick deflected goal in the third. But the first period, Vegas comes out swinging to get 2 goals, 2 points from Michael and Matteo, including a goal and an assist, and that was a really just solid effort. And then they fell asleep, and in the second period, the Jets scored 2 to storm back to tie it, and then in the third, they scored 2 more to start off the period, and Vegas is just, they did not, after the first period, Vegas just went to sleep. They didn't want to play until the last 5 minutes. Mattias Janmark makes it 4-3 for his 3rd in 3 games, which is an incredible thing. He's done it a couple of times in his career, but his first time with Vegas, and so that's really cool. And then Vegas does a thing that they like doing, which is scoring with an empty net. Because this has happened more times than I would like this season, but Vegas ties the game in the dying seconds of the third period. Mattias Janmark, a beautiful skate deflected, not a kick, which, oh boy, there's a lot to cover. Ties the game with 8 seconds left to make it 4-4, and we go into overtime, but Kyle Connor gets the overtime winner for the Winnipeg Jets to make us lose, but we got a point, and honestly, with the way that they performed most of the second period, most of the third period, they definitely did not deserve a point, and we stole one, so thank you for that, I guess. That overtime loss against Winnipeg was our first overtime regular season loss since December 19th, 2019. That is before COVID, that is before most people wore masks, that is before social distancing, that is before so many, that was a month after my son was born. That was Vegas's first regular season overtime loss in 2 years. That's incredible. That's insane. We are so good in overtime. It's weird to get the loser point, but I mean. Game 36 against the Nashville Predators. Can somebody tell Vegas that their motto should not be better late than never? Because, oh my goodness, the amount of third period comebacks that Vegas has had this season is tied for the most in the NHL, which is, that's good. They can come back and they can win in those games. They didn't here. Vegas Golden Knights lose 3-2 against the Nashville Predators, although that score is misleading because Nashville dominated us for 2.5 periods. Vegas had a 9-minute effort in this game, and it all came at the end. Philip Forsberg, earlier this year when we faced the Predators in Nashville, had just come back from an injury, scored 2 goals, almost 3, but 1 was called back. Scores 2 again here. So apparently, his mustache gives him powers to score 2 goals a game against Vegas, which is terrifying, although it's a pretty sweet handlebar. Oh, completely forgot. Logan Thompson makes his first NHL career start. Congrats to him, that's awesome. And honestly, in this game, he performed really, really well, despite allowing 3 on not that many shots. 26 shots. Logan Thompson has played in the NHL before. He filled in for Fleury after Fleury got pulled in the last year in the season. And he looked solid. Well, he stopped every puck he faced in that game. Not in this one, and it's not his fault. He had amazing saves, but defensively Vegas did not do anything until they didn't have to because their offense was running things when there was 9 minutes left in the game. And the reffing in this game was awful. Noted Vegas Golden Knight legend Nick Cousins cross-checks Dadonov 3 times. The 3rd time makes Dadonov fall over because, a grown man shoving you with a stick in the back, 3 times in a row. Nope, you're supposed to stay on your feet. Otherwise, you're just embellishing. So he gets 2 for embellishment, and that puts it to 4-on-4. But that was the worst of the calls, and that there was many more. And I'm not trying to say there were some on both sides, but it was definitely majority in Nashville's favor. And the worst part, absolute worst part, was 10 minutes into the 3rd period. I was like, yeah, Vegas can still come back from this. That's not out of the realm of possibility. They've done it before. They screwed with my mentality so much in these better late than never scenarios that they just need to be done with, because if they show and they almost do. It's just, William Karlsson gets one off of he deflects it in off of his body, I guess. And at this point, I'm like, where was this effort all game? Because they have sustained offensive pressure for the first time since the one time I saw it in the 2nd period, which was nuts. And then with a minute and a half left, Vegas empties their net again, Logan Thompson to the bench, and Shea Theodore gets one. And they had a lot of opportunities in the last minute and a half to get another one, and they just could not get one past Saros, who's a really good goalie, so it makes sense. But you cannot expect to win a game against anyone in the NHL when you only play 9 minutes of it. You want to win. That's not how this works. That's not how sports works. And they almost did, which is also how sports works. But seriously, Logan Thompson in his NHL debut was the best Golden Knight on the ice. So finally, game 37. Vegas Golden Knights win game 37 against the New York Rangers, 5-1. This was Turk and Reaves' first game back in the Fortress. That was weird. A lot of reunions this week. Is there another one coming up? And they played the tribute video for Reaves, and he said it threw him off his game in the post-game presser. Vegas gets a power play goal, so that's great. Good change of pace there. Matthias Janmark gets another one, which is fantastic. Robin Leonard returned in this one. Wow, there's a lot of points here. Matthias Janmark has 5 goals in 5 games now. He has 7 total in the year. He hasn't played all the games this season. And he was recovering from COVID in the first part, but still, if this is what prime Janmark is, then oh boy. He scored a goal that looked eerily similar to the one that he scored against Minnesota for his, I think, 2nd in game 7 of last season in the playoffs, which was a beautiful goal where he out-battled one of the defenders at our blue line entering the zone, is able to get the puck and nets it past one of the best. No, that was against in Winnipeg, because that was against Hellebuck. Okay, oh boy, there's too many games going on. And Brett Howden scores his 4th of the season again against his former team, which apparently Brett Howden is just a New York Ranger killer, so that's fun. Marcia Sonet's 2 in this one. Just a really, very, very solid game from the Golden Knights, especially following their 9-minute effort in the previous game. To have a game like this was just really, really comforting, I guess, as a Golden Knight fan. And then moving forward, hopefully they're able to carry this momentum from this win against the Rangers and maybe beat some other people that are returning to the Fortress for the first time. Mark Stone had a goal that had been challenged to be kicked in or something, and it wasn't, I guess, because his foot stayed on the ice. No one understands this rule. NHL, would you care to elaborate, please? Over the course of the last 4 games to come out with 2-1-1, that's really, really, really good. Anyways, it's gonna be it for the nightly review for games 34 through 37. Thank you so much for bearing with me as I've been patchy this season. I mean, I was patchy last season too, but welcome to 2022 and have a good night. Man, that's so weird. Vegas did not have an overtime loss in regulation. Wait, what? In the regular season in all of 2020 or 2021. Granted, they were shortened seasons and stuff, but still, that's impressive.